All right, Jenny, we're live.
Great, thank you, Chase. Good afternoon, everyone, and we will call the Thursday, May 13th, 2021 ART meeting to order. Per the state legislature allowances, we are conducting our meetings still in a virtual format, and we appreciate everybody being here today to take part in that. With that, I'll have Lori call the roll for our ART members, please.
Yes, Ms. Roush,
Here.
Ms. Gilger,
Here.
Mr. Hendershot,
Here.
Corporal Morris,
Here.
Mr. Hamilton,
Present.
and we have not seen Sean, correct?
Not at this time, so we'll wait and see if
Okay.
he shows up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So the next item on our agenda is the approval of meeting minutes from April the 8th. And unless anybody has any corrections to that, I will make a motion of approval for those minutes. If I could have a second, please.
I
Second. Oh, beat me to it.
Thank you, Michael. Lori, if you could call the roll, please.
Ms. Gilger,
Yes.
Corporal Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Mr. Hendershot,
Yes.
Ms. Roush.
Yes. Thank you, Lori. So on our agenda today, we have no minor modifications for the group's awareness. We do have 3 cases on our agenda, 2 are a determination and 1 is an introduction. So the first case before us at the determination is for Mesh Fitness at 6678 Riverside Drive, which is exterior modifications to a tenant space within Bridge Park. And Chase Ridge is our presenter, and I'll give him a minute to get his presentation started. But when you're ready, Chase, we're ready.
Great, thank you. Can you see this okay? Okay. Yeah, so as was mentioned, this is a request for review and approval of a minor project review for exterior modifications at the Mesh Fitness tenant location located within the Bridge Street district. The site is highlighted in yellow on your screen. This particular tenant space is located within building C2 of the C block of Bridge Park. And the tenant space is indicated by the yellow star on the screen. The site is located southeast of the intersection of Teller Ridge Drive with Riverside Drive. For some context to the existing conditions, on the left side of your screen is a view of the tenant space as viewed from Riverside Drive. You can see the patio space in question there underneath the existing overhang. And then on the right-hand side is the Longshore Street entrance. So this is the proposed patio layout, again on the Riverside Drive elevation. So much is, this is largely the same as what you had seen when this was introduced in April. So the applicant is proposing a variety of furniture, including tables and chairs, benches, high top countertops, as well as stools with that. The applicant is also proposing 4 large hanging planters located centrally in the patio space, as well as planter boxes, a cedar screening, and an overhead garage door, which is indicated by the blue box on your screen. So these are the proposed elevations. On the left is a typical elevation for the north and south elevations. And then on the right is of the west elevation facing Riverside Drive. So these are, again, largely the same as what you saw when this was introduced. Some patio renderings to give you an idea of the furniture layout and selections. And at the last meeting, the applicant did indicate that they were interested in potentially modifying the other storefront. So this is the Longshore Street elevation to install an operable storefront system. And so that is what the applicant is proposing today. The system is an aluminum bifold storefront system. The openings the dimension of the openings rather remains the same as exists today. So transparency is really unchanged from the existing. And the intent is to be able to open those up on days with pleasant weather, creating interaction between the tenant space and the street. And then the furniture details are shown on your screen here. Again, these are largely the same as what was introduced. So you can see there's a variety of stools, concrete tables with cedar bases, an outdoor sofa seat, and then the large flower baskets. And so with that, staff is recommending approval with 2 conditions today. So the first being that the applicant apply a protective clear coat product to the cedar elements to avoid premature weathering and staining. And then the second, that the applicant provides specifications for the artificial plant material prior to installation and subject to staff approval. So I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have, and the applicant is also in attendance today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chase. I appreciate that and appreciate the updates made by the applicant based on our prior review. Does anybody have any questions for Chase before I allow Mr. Davis to chime in?
Chase, are there any right-of-way encroachments proposed as part of this application?
There are not. All the improvements are outside of the right-of-way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Matt, do you have anything to add as the applicant on this request?
Just one small request. We're on if you pull up the window sliding thing, we're having some lead time and pricing issues with the world going on right now, availability stuff, and we're flipping things around. So I was wondering if it was possible, if not, just let me know, to ask for approval, as long as we want to keep the mullions exactly where they are. You could tell from a look standpoint, but we haven't decided if we're going to put as 4 on the left and 2 on the right, or 4 and 4, totally, because the systems change. So I guess my request would be if we make them look that similar style, I would just ask to come back and give it to staff for a final approval based on the windows that I can get. But it might be 4 and none or 4 and 2, depending on the price and availability of the systems. But it would keep that mullions in the same spot, so you shouldn't notice it too much.
Okay, Chase, does that fall within what the administrative approval criteria would be for that? They wanted to make modifications to how those windows are aligned, so we wouldn't need to make a condition, or should we?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we could condition it to be safe, but I think that would fall within the administrative approval criteria. So if it's approved as it's shown today, we could always modify that potentially in the future.
Okay, well, let's be on the safe side. Could you craft something, a quick condition to address that? That way, again, we want you to have that flexibility, Matt, as long as it looks very similar. I don't see an issue with that. Does anybody else see an issue with doing that before Chase goes forward with that?
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Does anybody have any additional questions or concerns that they want to raise? Colleen, I'll start with you. None from you?
No, none. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hamilton, Chad, do you have anything to add?
No, nope.
Corporal Morris?
I do not.
You, Mr. Hendershot?
I do not. Thank you.
All right, Chase, just let us know when you're ready. And in the interim, Nikki, do we have any public comment for this case?
We do not have any public comment.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me bring that back up. We can take a look at the language, and if you would like to modify it, I can certainly do that. So I put that the applicant provide updated storefront elevations for the east elevation prior to installation and subject to staff approval.
Sure.
Nikki, are you okay with that?
I guess I would probably recommend we add something about it being similar to the elevations approved by the administrative review team.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, if everyone's agreed, I will make a motion of approval with the 3 conditions. If I could have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Chad. Lori, if you can call the roll on that, please.
Yes. Corporal Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Hendershot,
Yes.
Ms. Gilger,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Ms. Roush.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much, Matt, and good luck with your improvements.
All right, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay. The second case on our agenda is for a new tenant space at 6562 Longshore Street. This is for exterior modifications and site improvements for a tenant within Bridge Park Building B1, and Chase is the presenter for that as well. And we're ready for your presentation once you get it pulled up, Chase.
Okay, I apologize. Can you see this okay? I might have to present in this manner because it's not opening full screen for some reason.
It's fine.
Okay, well, this is a request for review and approval of a minor project review. And actually, of course, there it goes. There we go. Okay. So this is a request for review and approval of a minor project review for exterior modifications to a tenant space located in Bridge Park. This site is highlighted in yellow on your screen. It is located within B block of the Bridge Park development, specifically building B1. The tenant space is indicated by the yellow star and is located adjacent to the Penn's tenant space that's in there now. And this is
Hey
located.
Chase, I'm not seeing your screen.
Okay.
It's still on the title sheet. I don't know if anyone else is seeing that as well. There we go.
Yeah, I had the same issue.
Okay, now can we see it?
There we go.
Yeah, you're zooming in on the site. Yep. Thank
I
you.
apologize. I'm not sure what's happening on this end. So yeah, the site is located northeast of the intersection of Banker Drive with Riverside Drive. So these are some of the existing conditions of the site. On the left, you have the existing patio space as viewed from Riverside Drive. And on the right is the tenant space main entry from Longshore Street. So the applicant is proposing modifications to 2 primary areas highlighted in blue on your screen. So on the left-hand side is the Riverside Drive patio area, and then on the right is the Longshore Street entrance and patio area. Excuse me. So proposed for the west patio are a number of furniture selections. Highlighted in blue is a communal table with a stone countertop and wood bench seating. In yellow is a circular table with a white stone countertop to match the communal seating and stools to match as well. And then in green are concrete planters proposed for this patio. You'll also notice on the west side of the patios, on the patio shown on your screen here, is an existing planter. So this is to remain, that is not being modified with this application. And all improvements on this the side of the tenant space are outside of the public right-of-way. And then this is a rendering showing those modifications to the west patio space. Again, you can see the communal tables here, as well as canopies over them. The round tables are closer to the storefront entrance, and then concrete planters are located more in the foreground here. The applicant is also proposing string lighting, which is to be dimmable LED lighting and affixed to poles that are approximately 11 feet in height. So you can see those kind of in the foreground here. Staff is recommending that the applicant continue to work with us to select a fabric that is fade resistant and durable, and that is subject to staff approval. And on the left-hand side of your screen here is the proposed layout for the east patio. So this is the Longshore Street entryway. You'll notice highlighted in blue are drink rails with a stone counter to match the tables and the communal seating. In orange is a pair of the circular tables again, and then planters are proposed for either side of the entry. Additionally, on this elevation, the east elevation, the applicant is proposing to modify the storefront slightly. So the existing storefront system will be pushed back several feet, and so this ultimately creates a small covered patio area, which you saw in the previous slide there. The newly exposed wall and ceiling are to be clad in cedar panels, which I will outline here shortly. And then this is a rendering of the east patio. So again, on the right-hand side of your screen is that newly formed covered patio with the storefront system pushed back. You can see the cedar planks painted on the wall and then natural on the ceiling. The applicant is also proposing to modify the existing canopy with scalloped metal decorative canopy here. So the existing canopy is not to be expanded, rather just redesigned. You'll also notice on this elevation and on others, there are a couple signs. Just for clarification, those are not a part of this application. And this block does have an approved master sign plan, so the applicant would be essentially jumping straight to building standards with any sign plan. And then just some additional detail on some of these paint colors and materials. The brand standard uses obstinate orange and extra white, so you'll see that on the canopy as well as the cedar planks that are painted. And then also the applicant is proposing exterior string lights from Adlon and exterior down lighting from Juno. So with that, staff is recommending approval with two conditions. The first being that the applicant select a fabric material for the communal table canopies that is fade resistant and durable, and that the applicant work with staff to ensure adequate clearance is provided for pedestrians between the drink rails and adjacent structures, subject to staff approval. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant is also in attendance today.
Great, thank you, Chase. Does anybody have any initial questions for Chase before I turn it over to the applicant? Thank you. So if the applicant or representative wanted to share anything further about the proposal, I would welcome that at this time.
Hi, Randy Roberti, Design Collective. I'm the architect for the project. Nothing to add further at this time. Chase did a nice job of describing the overall scope, and we'll be here to respond to questions as needed.
Great, thank you, Randy. Does anybody from ART have any comments or questions about this proposal? Michael, I'll start with you if you have anything.
I do not. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Colleen, how about you?
I do not.
You, Chad, do you have anything? Bill, do you have any comments?
I do not, thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Randy. I know you've worked extensively internally with staff to address our comments as part of our initial staff review. So I think that's a testament to why nobody has any questions or concerns.
No, no problem. Thank you. We had one question we'd like to open up.
Okay, sure.
And we held it off the package because we were unsure. Can you the plan, Chase? Particularly the east side patio?
Okay. Yeah, give me one moment. Do you want the rendering or the site plan?
Plan, please. Site plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. So if you look at the area in blue, we're proposing these oval-shaped drink rails that are within the right-of-way. We would like to put a series of stools along that drink rail. They would be similar to what you're seeing on the top right-hand corner there, wood with a black post. In order to make that fit and work within the design, they would have to go along the street side of the drink rails, which would obviously encroach a couple inches into the right of way. We held it off the package because if that's a red flag or an issue, we don't, that's okay. But we felt that would add to the aesthetic, and it would break down the facade, add some warmth out there with the addition of wood. And it leaves, we can't see in this particular plan, but in the overall site plan, you can see there's still 7 or 8 feet of sidewalk out there before you hit the trees. So we wanted to suggest or request that as well while we had you guys all on the call.
Okay, so encroachments into the right of way are something that the city engineer would have to weigh in on as part of this. So
Right.
we have a couple options. And again, I'm sure Michael hasn't had a chance to vet this with Paul since we weren't aware of that. So
Yep,
we have a couple,
absolutely.
yeah, so we have a couple options. So you could get it approved as it is and discuss that with the
Yes.
city engineer and come back, or we could table the request as just an introduction today, let you work that out, and you could come back at a subsequent meeting without having to resubmit materials
Absolutely.
in the process. So I'll leave that up to you.
So the intent was
I don't know
we would proceed with approval on the package as submitted. That's the reason we pulled them off. Kind of wanted to gauge your thoughts on doing that before proceeding down a route with the engineer and wasting our time if this particular group didn't feel it was appropriate.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've had lots of discussions recently, and I'll let Michael maybe chime in on that. So, but in the end, because I can't guarantee that what the city engineer would say at this
Agreed.
point too. So
Agreed.
we can definitely proceed with this part. Michael, do you want to chime in first before we move forward?
Yeah, so there is a development agreement that has a provision for right-of-way encroachment requests. I believe it's up to 6 feet within the right-of-way. So those are case-by-case basis. It's subject to the review and approval of the city engineer. So some of the things we would be looking at is what is encroaching, how permanent is that? What is the clear pedestrian circulation? What is that width that would be maintained through there? So those are some of the things. In addition to is there landscaping, bike posts? Are there utilities in the area that may be impacted or reducing that pedestrian width? So those are just generally some of the things that we would be looking at. That, as Jenny had mentioned, that would be something that would need to be submitted to the city engineer for his review and determination. I guess I do have a question. My understanding was the railing that was shown there, the top there, that was not encroaching within the right of way. Is that correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay, so yeah, so that's something that specific request would need to be submitted to the city engineer for his review and determination.
So we go through that process and then we resubmit to you for a second round to approve only the stools along the facade.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and again, there's no guarantee that would be approved. It's just going through the process for the city engineer to review and make a determination on that request.
Yep, understood.
Okay, great. Well, with that, then we'll proceed with moving forward with the determination on this portion today, and then you can work through the other part if you so choose to.
Thank you. Appreciate the input.
No, it's great. Thanks for asking. Okay, so since nobody has anything further, Chase or Nikki, do we have any public comment on this application?
We do not have any public comment.
Great, thank you. Okay, so with that, thank you, Chase. I will make a motion for approval with the 2 conditions as outlined here. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Colleen. Lori, if you would call the roll, I would appreciate that.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Mr. Hendershot,
Yes.
Corporal Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Gilger,
Yes.
Ms. Roush.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Randy, for being here today and working with our staff.
Thank you all as well. We appreciate it.
Great. We'll look forward to your tenant space improvements there.
Absolutely. Get ready to eat some hot dogs.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, then the third application for introduction only today is for Kona Craft Kitchen at 6705 Longshore Street. So this is a new tenant within building D1, and Zach is our presenter for that. Zach, when you're ready, we're ready.
Great, thank you, Jenny. Well, good afternoon. As Jenny had stated, this is an introduction for a minor project review for Kona Craft Kitchen. The site is highlighted in yellow on the screen. The specific tenant space is marked by the star in the middle of the screen. This tenant space is located within building D1 of the Bridge Park Development Block D. This is the northernmost tenant space of building D1, and it has frontage on Riverside Drive and Longshore Street. The site is zoned Scioto River neighborhood. So shown on the screen are some existing conditions of the tenant space and the streetscape surrounding it. The 3 photos do show both the Longshore, Riverside Drive, and the open space plaza. The left photo is if you're looking at the site from the northeast of the building along Riverside Drive. The central photo is if you're looking from the northwest, which is along Riverside or Longshore Street, and then another photo from the northeast showing the north side of the building, which is adjacent to an open space plaza. So shown on the screen is the proposed site plan. The applicant is proposing an approximately 925 square foot patio that will be enclosed by a metal railing. This patio is highlighted in blue on the screen. The patio will include furniture for outdoor dining as well as a pergola structure, which will be located on the Riverside Drive frontage. And this would be a permanent pergola structure. So outlined in red is the right-of-way line along Riverside Drive. The applicant is proposing a 2-foot 1-inch encroachment into the right-of-way for their patio railing as well as the overhang of the pergola structure. The right-of-way encroachments are at the discretion and reviewed by the city engineer. So he would have say in the right-of-way encroachments similar to the previous discussion we just had with Chase's case. The applicant is providing a minimum 8-foot clearance for pedestrian access along Riverside Drive between the existing planter and the proposed fence. And highlighted in orange on the screen is an outdoor gas fireplace that the applicant is proposing, along with a detail showing what this would look like within the space. This is located on the north side of the building and is adjacent to an existing electrical enclosure in this structure, or this gas fireplace would back up to it. Additionally, highlighted in green along the right side of the image, the applicant is proposing to relocate 4 existing bike posts that are along Longshore Street. These bike posts are currently in front of the main entrance into the tenant space, and the applicant is looking to relocate these just south of their existing location, and it would be in front of a utility entrance, I believe, for their electrical for the building. These have been reviewed and presented to Crawford Hoying, the property owner. Additionally, the applicant is proposing to relocate a planter. The relocated planter is highlighted in orange at the top of the screen. It would be just north of the patio and just north of the proposed railing that would be installed with the patio. They would be replacing an existing landscaped planter bed that is just south of it. You can kind of see the irregular outline of this along the north side of the building. They would be increasing the impervious surface by about 20 square feet, which does not trigger a waiver request for impervious or for lot coverage. And then finally, shown in the bottom right, the applicant has made modifications with their back of house door, which is shown in the southeast portion of the tenant space. The original proposal included the door swinging out into the right of way, which was a condition with the approval for Block D that doors would not be able to swing out into the right of way. They have since modified the proposal for the proposed door, and it is now swinging inward into the tenant space. And shown on the screen is the northwest elevation of the tenant space along Riverside Drive. Here you can see the proposed green pergola structure along the Riverside frontage. The applicant has modified the supports of this structure to, if I can get this to pull up, there we go. The applicant has modified the supports for the pergola structure as the original location of these supports were within the right-of-way, which were reviewed by the city engineer and ultimately opposed by our city engineer. So they have modified the location of these to be within the property lines. This pergola structure also has operable louver system as the roofing of this structure, and it does have ceiling fans that are fixed to the pergola structure. Additionally, the applicant is proposing nanowall windows within the existing openings, which you can see on both the north side of the structure, which is on the left, and on the west side of the structure. The applicant will be painting the existing composite panels green, and they will also be proposing this batu wood trim, which is above the existing openings. This batu wood trim is currently used with North Market just across the street. Additionally, shown as the east elevation, many of the same treatments along the west elevation are proposed along the east elevation, including the nanowall system, the painting of the composite panels, the wood trim above the openings, as well as these black sconces located above tenant space. There we go. So shown on the screen are some of the proposed materials that the applicant has provided with the submittal. You can see a range of the dining furniture, their patio dining chairs and tables, as well as patio furniture and a patio swing that would be suspended from the pergola structure. The theme is fairly consistent across their furniture as they are mostly light tan, natural colors, as well as the green. So with this introduction, we do have 4 discussion questions today for our architecture review team. The first being, does the ART support the right-of-way encroachment of the patio fence and overhead pergola? Is the ART supportive of the proposed site layout for the patio? Is the proposed character of the tenant improvements appropriate for the surrounding context? This includes the tenant improvements as well as the proposed furnishings. And then 4th was, does the ART support the proposed gas fireplace location? I'm happy to answer any questions that our team may have. Otherwise, the applicants are here to address any questions you have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any initial questions for Zach before I allow the applicant to provide additional information?
So Zach, I had a question. You had mentioned that this block, there was a condition placed that there couldn't be any right-of-way encroachments for door swings. I know as part of this application, there is a request for right-of-way encroachment of their outdoor dining patio space with the railing. And then there's also that gate that would swing into the right-of-way. Would you be able to clarify, does that condition, is it specific to door swings that are attached to the building, or was the intent to include a situation like this where it's a gate swing that's part of the railing, you know, for an outdoor patio space?
That's a great question. Within the report, it did say that the applicant revised the building plan to ensure all door swing areas will not encroach into the public right of way to meet the requirements of the code. My understanding when reading this is that it's specific to the door swings of the building itself. I would need to do some further research as to whether we would include the patio door swing as well.
Okay. I just want to make sure that aligns with a determination from the city engineer as far as right-of-way encroachments. Thank you.
Michael, anybody else have any initial questions? Okay. Is the applicant present and like to share any additional information that Zach did not cover?
Hello, I am Kara Herring with DK Architects. I also have Kimberly Orr from Kimberly O Design, who worked on the design of the patio itself. Frank and Stacy Leary, the owners, were hoping to jump on this call. Frank and Stacy, are you on here?
Yes, I am, Kara. Thank you.
Oh, you are? Great, Frank.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything real quick?
I just want to thank the team for taking the time to review our project. We're terribly excited about getting started. I think the space that Kimberly and with the help of you, Kara, have designed, I think this will fit nicely into the neighborhood, the existing neighborhood and the architectural designs. Zach, thank you so much for walking the team through it. I think you did a nice job, I think, covering all aspects of it, and just would love to get your feedback on the proposed site.
Great, thank you so much. So Zach provided some discussion questions for us, with the first one regarding the right-of-way encroachments for the patio space, and particularly for the proposed fence that's located with that in that area. So Michael, I will defer to you representing engineering on that one.
Okay, thank you. So we recognize and appreciate, you know, the applicant. I know you've worked with us to remove the support structures for the canopy that was previously proposed to be within the right of way. So we do thank you for working with us to get that outside of the right of way. So it's really, we're talking about, as far as right of way encroachments, the outdoor patio dining area, and then the railing that's kind of bounding that area. So we also understand with the request that we are providing, or there is provided, that 8 feet of clear pedestrian circulation, which is one of the things that we're looking for under these considerations. So we have reviewed this with the city engineer, the updated information with the canopy support structures being removed. And he is supportive of the right-of-way encroachments. I guess the caveat to that is I would like there to be some follow-up with that condition that we just talked about. Just to make sure that we're not having a determination from the city engineer that's in conflict with the intent of that condition. But if that's not in conflict with each other, the city engineer has determined that the right-of-way encroachment as proposed is acceptable.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And yeah, definitely echoing our appreciation for working with us to try to minimize the encroachments. And again, from a planning perspective, we'll look at that door swing. To me, it would stand to reason that if the condition is door swings into the right of way, that would also apply to this gate. But let us look at that a little further just to clarify that that's not the, if that needs to be mitigated or that needs to be moved elsewhere to avoid that, we'll communicate that further before this comes back for determination.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Then the next, anybody else have any other questions or thoughts about the right-of-way encroachment? Shaking their head no. Okay. So in terms of the site layout and any thoughts or items to raise during this introduction for this, Colleen, do you have any concerns or thoughts?
Nope.
Bill, do you have anything from the police perspective?
I do not.
And Chad, are you still on here? It looks like he might have dropped off, actually. Okay. Same for the site improvements and the character. Again, I know you've all worked really extensively with staff to address a lot of these before you came to us, which we appreciate that. So again, does anybody have any comments or anything related to the proposed improvements and the character of those? I think those fit nicely with the overall building, at least from a planning and zoning perspective. And I appreciate all the work that's gone into that discussion and making this tenant space unique and working to maintain those previous approvals and the conditions associated with that. Does anybody else have anything to add?
So I just had a general comment about the bike lock posts that are being proposed to be relocated. So we're supportive of that modification or that change. I guess as far as the repair to the concrete in that sidewalk area, the intent there is to try to minimize the disturbance of that. So we probably wouldn't want to see full panels of sidewalk being replaced because I think that would stand out. So just trying to figure out, an acceptable solution that kind of minimizes the disturbance of that area is what we would be looking for. So those are details we can work through, but I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael. Chad, you're just in time to provide comments related to the site layout, and then I think the next item on the list was the fireplace and whether you were supportive of that in its proposed location or at all on this site. You have a chance to chime in on that for us.
Yeah, I apologize. My service has been really bad today. Yeah, I researched the fireplace. As far as the site goes, I'm okay. The location of the fire pit is okay under the heating section of the fire code, not fire pit. It looks to be a fixed unit, not a portable fire pit. So as long as they're installing that according to the manufacturer's guidelines, and I believe the mechanical code will tip off an emergency stop button for the gas service should there be an issue, and we just ask that there be an extinguisher within 5 feet of the unit.
Okay, great. Thank you. Does the applicant have any questions related to what Mr. Hamilton is saying from a fire perspective, and you're all agreeable to that?
Yeah, no, that's great. And we can definitely address those items.
Okay, great. That sounds perfect. Okay, does anybody have anything else that they wanted to add from an ART member perspective? Okay. Does the applicant have any outstanding questions that they need information or answers on prior to this proceeding to the next meeting for determination? No? Okay, sounds good. Zach, do you need anything further from us or from the applicant to move forward?
I think that's plenty. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any public comment? If I can close the loop on that, and then Kara, if you have another question, I'll come back to you.
We have no public comment.
Great, thank you. Kara, did you have another question?
No, I just wanted to say thank you and thanks Zach for all the work that he's put in. We appreciate it.
Great. Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all working collaboratively with us. Okay, well, if there's nothing further, then we're not taking any action on this today, but we'll see you at a future meeting with these finalized details, and we'll get some answers back to you for the gate swing and whether that needs to be addressed as part of this, but otherwise looks like we're in good shape. So thank you again.
Great. Great.
Perfect. Okay. I don't have any communications unless Nikki or Chase have anything for ART.
Nope, not today. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, with that, then we will be adjourned, and I appreciate everybody's time and input today for our meeting. Thanks.
Thank you.